Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss I Know What You Did Last Summer, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, Freddie Prinze Jr., Muse Watson, Anne Heche, Bridget Wilson, and Johnny Galecki, directed by Jim Gillespie. Now, I have never seen any of these movies and the TV show that's like one season long that I'm going to review for the show. And I'm curious about the new one, but I have to see what this is all about. Let's get into the movies since I've never seen any of these. It's the 4th of July in the year 1996, where four high school senior friends, Julie James, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, Barry Cox, played by Ryan Phillippe, Julie's boyfriend Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., and Barry's girlfriend Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who wins the America's Sweetheart Award of the year. And after Helen wins the award, she bumps into her sister Elsa, played by Brigitte Wilson, saying to tell mom to not wait up on her. As Julie bumps into Max, played by the Big Bang Theory's Johnny Galecki, and Barry picks on Max, and they go to the beach. And I do like, and do I like the characters? I like a couple of them, like Julie and Ray, but everyone else sucks in this movie. Julie and Ray hang out and smooch while Barry and Helen have sexual intercourse, and Barry is drunk and wants to drive drunk, which is dangerous, but the keys go to Ray and they drive home while Barry acts drunk and plays loud fucking music until they bump into someone in the middle of the road, and they eventually find the body of a man, excuse me, who happens to be dead, and they want to make a call to the police or paramedics, but Barry acts like a village douchebag, and Max drives by them and acts like a menace to them as he drives by, and they throw the body in the water. And the acting in this movie is pretty bad, as they run into a body and debate over what happens to the body, and that's just stupid to me. The body wakes up and grabs Helen's crown, and Barry goes after it. And why go back for the fucking crown? It's just a bad idea. And this is a stupid movie with painful acting, as Barry makes a pact to never speak of this ever again while acting abusive as fuck. And 1 year later, her roommate, Julie's roommate demands Julie to get in the car to go home, and she doesn't want to. And I'm like, bitch, let her stay. And she doesn't want to go back home, and so don't let her. But she gets home anyways and sees her mother, who asks Julie if she's on drugs. And the cinematography looks bad, as it's dreadful to look at. As Julie gets a letter saying, "I know what you did last summer," and Julie is scared about it, and she looks at it. And so far, this movie is badly told as a young adult point of view, as this script is written bad. Julie bumps into Elsa and Helen as she talks to Helen about the note, and they show Barry, as I get the impression Barry and Helen broke up, like, off screen. Julie and Ray might have broken up also, and as we learn, it's been a year, and they bring up how 3 weeks later, where they have David Egan caught in a fishnet and drowned, and Barry goes to Max and threatens him while at work, and Ray becomes a fisherman. And they bump into him, and Barry and Helen walk away, and Julie and Ray talk about how he felt responsible. And she doesn't believe that Max gets killed by a fisherman's hook. And the deaths in this are cheesy as hell, as it was fucking laughable. Meanwhile, Barry trains at the gym and gets attacked by the fisherman, which is what the killer is called. And this movie is laughable the entire time. Barry was warned to get hospitalized and gets hospitalized, as Julie, Ray, and Helen go to the hospital and thinks about going to the police to come clean. And Barry gets an idea of going to David Egan's family members and friends. And Julie and Helen look for one to go to the house of David's sister Missy, played by Anne Heche, who comes off as worse as the Psycho remake in 1998. Horror isn't her thing. I mean, she's really bad in this thing, while they disguise their names as Angela and Jody. which was tedious, and the plot is super tedious as Julie and Missy questions about David ask Missy questions about David, and a lot of these scenes are tedious for damn sure, as this is a bad movie for sure. Julie and Helen get to the car, and Helen forgot her cigarettes, so Melissa returns them to her. I mean, not Melissa, Missy. And they drive away, and Julie drops off Helen at her house and gets home to a father who focuses on a baseball game and the TV as the fisherman quietly enters their house and hides in the closet. And I thought, just fucking attack her. While Elsa demands Helen to come to the store as it's mandatory and brings up how her obsession with her hair is pathetic. And next morning comes and her crown is on her head and part of her hair is cut and her mirror is graffitied on her mirror. And I thought, oh my god, this is a stupid movie. As Julie hears something in the trunk and opens it as there's Max's dead body with some crabs, which looks disturbing. But it's just a silly scene as she brings Helen and Barry and see absolutely fucking nothing as this is a silly movie from the get-go. Barry walks up to Ray and punches him in the face and get into an argument as Julie and Helen come up with the idea of helping each other as David had a friend named Billy Blue and they split up as it's once again the 4th of July and they come up with a way to encounter the fisherman. And Helen gets to a parade where Barry is her bodyguard and sees the fisherman. And as it turns out, it's an older man who seems harmless. While Julie comes back to Missy's house and asks her what she's doing here as she asks her questions about David. And she brings up how David died and discovers it wasn't her brother. While Helen sees a fisherman from left to right, while Barry wasn't there, which pissed me off from the get-go in a mild way. Helen goes on stage to see the new talents that will take place for the year until next 4th of July, as Helen sees Barry is being attacked by the fisherman. And the audience forces her back to the stage, and she goes upstairs with the cop, and Barry is dead, but he doesn't see it as he drives her home while acting like a bitch about it. And the cop does absolutely not a fucking thing and stops to only get himself killed. And he was just an idiot to begin with anyways. And while the fisherman attacks Helen, Elsa takes forever to unlock the door and Elsa acts fucking delusional. And thank God she gets killed, as does Helen as she runs for her life. And this movie bugs the shit out of me. Julie happens to get there and sees Helen is dead. And too fucking bad for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as Julie goes to Ray and tells him that Ben Willis was the one who killed David, and Julie gets the wrong idea believing Ray is the murderer, and Ben Willis happens to be there. And when she gets on the boat, she sees Ben is the fisherman, the killer, I mean, and Ben tries to attack her with the fish hook, while Ray is knocked out on the shore. And the boat takes off as Ray comes after the boat. And with Ben and Julie getting on board as he attacks Ray. And Ray fights back and gets off board and dragged in the water. And how dumb is this movie? Incredibly dumb, as Ray gets back on board while Ben looks for Julie in a room with a shitload of ice and sees Barry and Helen's dead bodies. And Julie is almost killed by the fisherman. But Ray knocks his ass out until he wakes up and threatens Julie and gets his hand cut off and gets in the water as he dies from there, which was absolutely questionable. And Ray keeps Julie warm, and Ray says he loves Julie, and a cop says that do they have any idea why Ben wants them dead? And they say no idea. And we move on to 1 year later, and Julie is on the phone and gets a letter before she takes a shower. And the letter inviting her to a party, and she goes in the shower and sees a sign that says, I'll always know. And the fisherman bursts out of the mirror, and the climax was bad, as was this movie. But how bad was it? Let's talk about it in a rating. I'll give this movie a 4.0 out of 10. I do like Julie and Ray more than the other characters as they come off rather over the top and dumb. And the acting in this is pretty bad, like running in a body over and putting it in the water is just stupid. As this is a stupid movie with painfully terrible acting. And the cinematography looks bad throughout as it's dreadful to look at this movie. It's badly told as a young adult point of view as the script written is bad. And the deaths in this are cheesy as hell. As it, for what little it was, as it was fucking laughable. And this movie is laughable the entire time. And a lot of these scenes are tedious for damn sure. As this is a bad movie for sure. This is a silly movie with a stupid premise, as this movie pissed me off in not in an extreme way, but in a mild way. And it's a bad movie for me, so I have to give it a mild non-recommendation because it doesn't work as a premise and the story is weak. And this movie mildly bugs the shit out of me. And I can't believe there's a new movie coming, so I'm in for a bumpy road ride, I'll say, for the series, as this first movie sucks. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And until then, what are you waiting for?